Let's dive in.
Let's do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Alabama Crimson Tide coming over to Athens, Georgia to take on the Georgia Bulldogs inside Sanford Stadium for the first time since 2015. First time. Hopefully it's a little bit different of an outcome for you Georgia football fans listening today. All right, here's how we're going to do this. Way too early preview, but there are some obvious things that we have to talk about. And when it comes to Georgia and Alabama, particularly from the Georgia standpoint of this, guys, my first question for you is there a mental hurdle in this football game for the Georgia Bulldogs?
I think the majority would say yeah.
For the fan base,
it's hard not to.
Certainly is.
I think you see this, and this isn't just a Georgia-Alabama thing. You see this across sports all the time of teams that just for example, the Buffalo Bills right now getting over that hurdle of playing the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. They just can't master it. They can't get over that one. Tennessee can't get over the Georgia hurdle right now. This happens with a bunch of teams. This isn't just a Georgia thing. They got this mental block against Alabama. No, they're the only teams that can't figure it out. It just happens sometimes, man. You just can't figure it out.
Yeah, you win one matchup out of the last 10. I think it's fair to say there is some form of a mental hurdle because on paper, they've only been better than you probably 5 or 6 times. I mean, these have been very even matchups. Sometimes Georgia has been better on paper, and you've still found ways to lose.
Yeah, I don't know if the roster feels this because it's so damn new, but the stadium will. Mm-hmm. No different than the stadium. We watched it this weekend.
We had first class people telling us about it, how Tennessee fans, that is. Yeah, we think we can get Georgia this year, but man, it's still Georgia. Every Tennessee fan we talked to was basically saying that, I could fully see them coming in and kicking our butt. Even
more than that, that whole stadium believed that they can win that football game until that first drive of the second half. Mm-hmm. And then the whole stadium went, uh-oh. Here it goes again. And if I felt that as an unbiased, just guy on the sideline, what do you think their team felt? You know what I mean? So, if you're a fan listening to this today, and there is a moment next weekend where you think, oh my God, here we go again, you better block that the hell up out and start screaming your head off again, because it ain't going to happen unless you let it happen, right? Unless you allow that type of mindset to just creep all over the stadium. Because I do believe in this sport, momentum's a real thing, and you can feel it in a home crowd like that.
Yep. Most definitely.
So that's a huge talking point in this football game. If you're Kirby, how do you avoid that creeping into your players? Do you just say, hey, this is a 1 week? Do you just keep going with the same motto of every game's the same, we just approach it, every game's important, all the nonsense? Or do you give them a mental competitive edge here somehow?
Well, I don't know how much of a issue this is going to be within the players. Obviously, there was last year, and most every Georgia player feels like they probably
Oscar Delp's 0 for his last 2.
Right.
Lawson's 0 for his last 2.
Right, but the 0 for 2 in 2 games that you really, really probably could have won is not the same as 1 for 10.
31-17.
Yeah, growing up the last 15 years, you just could not beat.
It's a great point you're making right here, Curb, because the last 2 losses weren't like the other ones, right? Mm-hmm. The other losses almost were all 31-17, apart from the 2017-90. That was a close game, obviously. Correct. But the 2 or 3 losses after that were Georgia got handled today by Alabama. How are they going to respond and then come back and beat them in a natty? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is one, this is new for your quarterback. So certainly, and I think that plays into both, he has no idea, or he understands it because this is a guy that grew up in the state of Georgia, so he's aware of it, but he doesn't know that as a player necessarily, as a starting quarterback at the University of Georgia, of this mental hurdle of we can't beat them. And I also think that one thing you've learned through the first few weeks of the season, and really over the first, I think 4 starts of Gunner's career, is when it's time to turn it on, that dude turns it on.
Dude, it has to be one of the more mentally tough young people I've ever covered from this standpoint, right? Think about what this guy's had to go through. And he's playing confident right now, and we'll talk about that, especially with Ty Simpson having only thrown 5 incompletions in his last 40 attempts, I think it is. But anyways, think about the things, that mental hurdles that Gunner Stockton has had to overcome, right? Last year, Carson gets hurt. He walks in to the middle of an SEC championship game with all the weight in the world, goes out and finds a way to win, right? And then in the lead up to that Notre Dame football game, just imagine, just take yourself here as a 21-year-old, okay? Your first time starting at your school where you grew up, you rooted for this team, you're the starting quarterback. You're getting told, hey, 14, we believe it's you. You can go win us a national title. We got to win 3 games, and then you're written in the history books forever as the guy that delivered the 3rd national title in 5 years at the University of Georgia. All right? But hey, whatever you do, don't look over there where Francisco Mendoza's watching us practice right now. Whatever you do, don't look over there where Dylan Lonergan's standing over there on our sideline watching you practice right now. Because yeah, we are kind of talking to them about maybe bringing them in next year. Huh? That happened. We talked about this last year. Mm-hmm. Okay, what does he do? He manages to summon enough confidence to go out there and go, what, 24 for 32 against Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Yep.
Look, pretty daggum good to me.
Threw for the 2nd most yards against that Notre Dame defense last year than any other quarterback.
And then we come to this year, right? And it's nothing but doubts, nothing but skepticism. Going on the road to Tennessee, what's he do? 300 yards. I mean, this guy has checked a ton of boxes. And how could you not be playing confident right now if you're Gunnar Stockton? Speaking of playing confident, Ty Simpson's playing damn good football right now, boys.
Yeah, he is. And that's going to be something to pay attention to. Now, the question, and you can put the asterisk by of, yeah, well, he hasn't played anyone. Wisconsin's not good. ULM, very bad teams. But there is a difference, and there is something to be said when you watch a player of, oh, their stat sheet looks really good, as opposed to they are playing confident. They are going through their progressions confidently. They are playing this position like they believe in themselves. Ty Simpson is very clearly doing that when he was not doing that in week 1.
I saw one throw that I was like, oh, we're playing ball now. Like, we're comfortable, we're playing ball. He throws a sail route to Ryan Williams on Saturday against a 6-man blitz, and he gets absolutely blown up. Throws it early, throws it in the face of pressure, anticipates it. It's a runnable dot right to Ryan Williams on the sideline, and he gets absolutely destroyed. That's football. Mm-hmm. All right. And when you're starting to do that and you start stacking those reps as a quarterback, baby, like, we're going to start playing really, really confident. On top of the fact that we're, I think, 17-17 against ULM. And then we turn around and I think go like 21 for 25 against Wisconsin for 385. All right. And when I see every single clip I've seen of Ty Simpson against Wisconsin, they were sending the house. Yeah, they were dedicating themselves to stopping the run, and they were going to put it on Ty Simpson, and he smacked him with 385.
Yep. He's looked great. Mm-hmm. He's looked great.
He's looked so great. I've seen the Alabama content creators of, why weren't we playing this guy last year?
Oh, God.
Like that, man. It happens so quick. Hate and love for the quarterback position in this conference, like a roller coaster, man. Y'all go up and down with this stuff. Bama is getting a little bit healthier. Keyword a little bit here. Do you have an injury report on these guys or any information other than Tim Keenan potentially coming back for this football
No,
game?
they don't have a game this week either. So don't know. Other than it sounds like Jay Miller's going to be good to go for the Georgia game, and it sounds like Keenan is going to likely play.
So he had ankle surgery, or he got hurt Tuesday of that practice week leading up to Florida State. Will you check me dates on this, Jonathan? Just make sure I'm right on the timeline here. Just when that Tuesday was, okay? Because I'm counting dates to when we're expected to be back.
For when he had surgery?
I'm going to assume that he had surgery on Wednesday, the very next morning. I'm going to assume. All right, let's give him Wednesday surgery for a high ankle sprain, okay, and having tightrope. Now, the fastest we've ever seen come back from tightrope was 27 days, okay? 27 days. All right, sorry, I just got a text message I had to read. 27 days, that was Brock Bowers. I think the second fastest, Alabama fans will remember this, is Tua. Tua came back in like 28 days.
Correct.
Now, both of those football players look nothing like themselves until about 2 months after the fact. So whether it's 30 days removed, whether it's 35 days removed, whatever it is, I'm sure Tim Keenan's tough enough to come out here and try to play in this football game. My question is he himself? Because when he's healthy, when he's not 35 days removed from tightrope surgery, he's one of the best defensive tackles in the sport, particularly nose tackles in the sport. But if he's 80%, if he's 75%, if he's just gutting it out, are we ourselves? Are we real Tim Keenan? I don't think so.
No, and I mean, that's definitely something to pay attention to in this matchup. And the Brock Bowers example is perfect. He came back for that Ole Miss game. That was his first appearance back. it wasn't really Brock Bowers. And even in the game where he played Alabama, it was still a very hobbled Brock Bowers. So this type of injury is not something you can come back for and you can play, but you're not going to be absolutely the guy that you were before. It takes time to get healthy. So that will be something to put emphasis on.
Can't figure out like an exact date, but it was late August when it happened. So like somewhere around the 27th.
Yeah, we're going to be under a month from original date of injury. Look, I know Tim Keenan is tough as hell. We just got done talking about Birmingham high school football. That's where a kid's from. Like he is Alabama through and through, and he is the leader of that football program. He is the emotional captain of that football program. He will be padded up and ready to go for this football game. I have no doubt. But are you going to be yourself is the real question I have about that. The other question I have about these two football teams, first and foremost with Alabama, can they establish any type of run game? Mm-hmm. Now, I know we just got done talking about it. Wisconsin was dedicating themselves to the run. But they couldn't establish. They have yet to establish a run game.
Yeah, and I think that was something that Jalen Milroe certainly provided for this offense. Of even if you respected the run, it sometimes wasn't even enough to do that, and you were worried about what their wide receivers were going to do. So
even last year, with like their run game on paper looking really really good, it was all QB run. Like they didn't have a really good traditional core or running back run game last year.
It's going to be interesting again, and Georgia, while their offense did not or defense did not look great against Tennessee, they were fairly effective in stopping the run, especially early on before they had to start dedicating bodies to the passing game. So I'm going to be very interested to see how Alabama is able to run the football in this game, because I would venture to say that they're probably not going to have as much success against this Georgia defense.
I would probably agree with that sentiment as well. Correct
me if I'm wrong. They didn't really last year outside of what Jalen Milroe was doing for them. I don't think Jam Miller had a great game. I don't think there was any other.
Pull game logs right now on last year's Alabama roster, Jonathan. I would venture to say Jam Miller's season high in touches was like 14.
Probably. Now, again, when you have Jalen Milroe as your quarterback, it hinders a lot of your carries. But.
Yeah. What do you think about, speaking of Alabama's offense, we know they've got wide receivers. What do you got for me?
He had 28 against Auburn, but other than that, it would be 15 against South Florida.
What did he do in the Georgia game?
In that Auburn game?
In the Georgia game?
Oh, that was when Jalen Miller kept turning the ball over.
Jalen Miller was 5 for 8 against Georgia.
So there you go.
And even against Auburn, when he carried it 28 times, it was for 84 yards, averaging 3 yards per carry.
What did Justice Haynes do against Georgia?
I mean, I don't think that they ran the ball very well against Georgia.
They did.
It was Milroe first half, running with quarterback duo, basically into the boundary.
So that's going to be something to pay attention to. Is that you've got 2 years now where Georgia stopped a traditional running game.
And we can sit here and talk about that all day, but I know what Alabama fans are thinking. I know Alabama fans watched that Tennessee game and thought Ryan Williams is going to go for 250 against these guys.
Yep.
So are you concerned about that? As a Georgia reporter and a Georgia graduate, are you too concerned about the idea that y'all just look like not yourselves in the defensive back room, and then Alabama's coming to town in 2 weeks? I would argue Chris Brazzell's great. This wide receiver core is better.
Mm-hmm. You lost this game last year because of how you played the ball in the air. The Malachi Starks tip pass and the Julian Humphrey, obviously, touchdown that went viral are the 2 reasons why you lost that game. It was what gave them the 8 points in the second half, or the 11 points in the second half. That is a big issue for Georgia this year if you cannot be able to stop these run plays or stop these deep balls, play the ball in the air correctly. Ryan Williams, we've seen, is one of the better players at doing this. I would venture to guess and say that you had Georgia players being uncharacteristically bad with the ball in the air on Saturday, and there were a couple of great plays. It's definitely an area for concern. I would say, though, you're probably not going to get schemed up like you did in this Tennessee. That Tennessee scheme was developed to do just exactly that and capitalize on those deep shots. I don't know if Alabama's made for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly something that you have to think about, because your biggest test of the season, your secondary did not play their best game. In fact, they got torched, and they did the exact same. They did the exact thing you said they couldn't do going into that matchup. So maybe because it's something that like you're very aware of now, and that coaching staff is really going to emphasize over the next week or so for those DBs, maybe it gets fixed. But it's certainly something that's in the back of your mind. But I think it really boils down to like, how is your secondary forced to play this wide receiver unit?
Guys, I think for the remainder of the year until they start to play the ball confidently, and it could take 1 week.
Yeah.
It could take this week or whatever. until they prove that they can do it, it will be the default prayer of an offense. When we can't move the ball against Georgia, we'll just try to throw it downfield in a one-on-one and hope our guy comes down with it.
Absolutely.
And again, other than the Ellis play, which we've watched it on film, just tackle the guy.
Yeah.
Daniel Harris was in phase. Daniel Harris was in position. Just didn't make a good play on the ball. I don't think he was panicking. I don't think it was.
And the Braylon Staley touchdown was a double. I mean, it was scheme beat.
A scheme, yes. It wasn't necessarily the ball was in the air and we couldn't do anything about it. So the 21 points from that game, one is that's a 50-50 ball that doesn't always happen. The other is, hey, tackle him next time. And the third is you got schemed up, which happens.
Yeah. But Kirby, they only put 2 balls downfield, didn't they? Did y'all win one of those?
Yeah, you got
Saturday?
an interception from Jonell.
Jonell, that's right. Okay, so you went 1 for 3 out of the 3, and it cost you 21 points essentially.
Correct.
Should Georgia? We just talked about. Should you be concerned about your defensive backs? Who's got a positional advantage in this matchup? The only one I could really come to an agreement on is, especially not having really dived into the tape like we're going to start doing on Sunday and all week next week. I do think Georgia's offensive line has a slight advantage against this defensive line from Alabama right now with how they're currently situated. That's all I could get to, though. I don't know who's got the advantage between wide receivers and DBs.
Yeah, that's a tough one to break down.
know. I don't know who's got the advantage at quarterback right now. I don't know who's got the advantage at running back right now. Probably Georgia's got running the football. Georgia can actually run the ball. They're not one-dimensional right now. But other than that, I don't have a ton of leans right now in this football game.
No, and I mean, that's what makes these games so interesting is that they're so minute and so, hey, it's so down the middle, and we don't know until we'll know on Saturday. But that's what has made this such a great matchup in the past.
One thing I do know is something at this network I feel like we kind of pointed to and noted first and foremost. I call it the Kane Womack effect. Like, buddy, if you're in a fourth quarter fist fight, you're getting an explosive put on your head eventually at some point. Whether it's Dylan Bell double moving you in the middle of the fourth quarter for a massive go-ahead score, or whether it's Vandy getting you on 4th and 1, or whatever it is. Or whether it's FSU getting you with multiple explosives because you've been sitting in the same thing for 4 quarters. I trust Georgia's offensive staff that if this game is 28-28 in the fourth quarter and Kane Womack's been playing the same style of defense for 4 quarters, he's going to get hit in the face with an explosive.
Yeah, and that's something that we've certainly talked about too, of when you play Gunnar Stockton in Georgia running like man to man, you're making it too easy on him, and that's what Alabama's DNA has been under Kane Womack so far. So that's certainly something interesting to keep an eye on heading into this matchup too, is like, are they going to live and die by it again?
We got an Alabama and the fan in the chat.
Oh, he's letting them have it.
Yeah, he thinks that all of Georgia's offensive line is poop. No, just the right tackle. The rest are playing great football right now. So, I mean, good luck with that observation. Guys, Kirby's first shot at Alabama at home, and they're not wearing black.
Yeah, I mean, we can go ahead and extinguish this real quick because...
Oh, I got paid to tweet it today.
You got paid to tweet it?
Yeah, sponsored tweet, Kirby Smart.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
That wasn't a joke. That was 100% serious.
Well, you know what? That makes sense because the tweet has now been deleted by the people who have been promoting the blackout.
I mean, you thought I was lying?
So we had it got nipped pretty quickly, that's for sure.
They're not. They'll black out the fans, which I mean...
The fans will black out.
The fans will black out, win or lose.
Yeah.
But no, they'll wear black in the stands. I don't think Georgia's...
I don't even want to see that.
You know, it's cool at night. It looks good.
Georgia did it against Ole Miss for the homecoming, didn't they? Was that a blackout?
Can I ask a question without getting hated on?
Go ahead.
When did the Spike Squad start speaking for the entire fan base? When did the Barstool account start speaking for the entire fan base? When did this happen? I'm genuinely asking. I'm not criticizing these two groups of people because they're supporters of the network. I'm just asking.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily that they speak for the fan base. It's just they have such a large following
that they think they speak for the fan base.
Well, I think it's that Barstool that Barstool UGA I think has like 100,000 followers, so they have a lot of pull. There's the likelihood that every Georgia college student or fan is following that account or is in close proximity to that account is likely. So it's why they have that.
Yeah, and I think that like most other college football teams, the athletics department is the one that tells the fans, like, this is what we're doing for these games. Like, Tennessee had Georgia pinpointed as the checkered out game in like June of this year, and Penn State had already picked out their wide out game earlier in the summer, but Georgia just doesn't have one of those. So, like, I feel like that they take it upon themselves of, if we want to do something, then we have to do it ourselves. Well, let's give it to some of the bigger voices in the stadium of the students. Like, that's a good way of getting word around of, like, hey, this is what we want to do. Please participate.
Yeah, and the Spike Squad's influential. Like, there's no denying that. So I understand why. I don't think that I've ever looked at them and be like, oh, they think they run the show.
No. It was, look, I don't think they think that. I'm just asking. Like, when did it become announcement, we're blacking out Sanford Stadium?
Probably like 5 to
6 years ago.
Maybe even 10.
All right. I was just wondering. Guys, it's What If Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Hey, we'll take a quick minute to give a shout out to our friends over at Sleeper. What a great time to be here on this network this year, but also a great time to be with our friends over at Sleeper. Go over to Sleeper today, the #1 place for daily fantasy and prop plays. Sleeper Picks is a real money product that connects friends over picks. Choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame, live, or even across different sports. Pick more than or less than the predicted stats. It's that simple. On Sleeper, you can get up to 100x payouts. Share with your friends and get rewarded today. Use promo code Brooks, as you see on the screen, on Sleeper and get 100% deposit match up to $100. Again, that's sleeper.com/promo/Brooks. Terms and conditions apply. Boys, as you know, we're about 28 minutes at the time of this ad read from the kickoff of NFL Sunday. So go ahead, run over to Sleeper right now. I'll give you permission to leave the stream actively. Go over to Sleeper, get a play in right quick, and get paid. We appreciate those folks over there at Sleeper. Again, that's promo code Brooks over there on Sleeper.